Video 3 Advanced. This is the third video in the Pinktooth try-on series. In the previous video, we learned about body mesh and external mesh. In this video, we will look at the cloth simulation skirt and the boots with skeleton attachment points. Those features are not covered in the Snap AR course, and they are a little bit more advanced. I included them in this tutorial because they can be useful for different fashion projects. Boots tracking with attachment points. For the pirate boots, I used an older tracking method, which has been available for a couple of years now and was introduced in Lens Studio version 3. This method requires rigging the mesh in an external 3D tool such as Blender. This is not as easy as the external mesh method, which automatically does the rigging for us within Lens Studio. But for the boots specifically, I found that I'm getting more robust results. I imported the rigged snap body mesh into Blender. You can find a link to the FBX in the description below. This FBX includes a human body mesh and skeleton that matches the full body mesh in Lens Studio. Every bone is matching an attachment point in the 3D body tracking asset. When preparing the boots 3D model in Blender, I made sure that they are placed right on top of the legs and feet of the snap body mesh. In object mode, I selected the boots and the skeleton and applied Parent Armature Deform with automatic weights. To test it, I selected the skeleton and went into pose mode. When rotating the legs and feet joints, I can see that it works well. I exported from Blender an FBX file with the boots and skeleton only. I imported this FBX into the Lens Studio Resources window and dragged it into the scene under the 3D body tracking object. I clicked on each attachment point and assigned the related bone. I expand the whole list with shift-click. The bones are already named as their respective attachment point, so this process was pretty quick. To test this rig, I used some other preview videos, and the boots are ready now. Skirt with cloth simulation. Especially on lower-end phones, cloth simulation can be quite heavy to play. So while doing the retopology in Marvelous Designer, I tried to use the minimum number of polygons that I could, while still giving the skirt the needed flexibility. The pleated skirt pattern is simple and is made of 6 rectangular pieces. With the new retopology tools, it is easy to distribute the polygons where I want them. I used 4 polygons for the width and 2 polygons for the fold. I used 8 polygons for the skirt length and 3 for the belt strap. In Substance Painter, I started with baking the ambient occlusion mesh map for added shadowing. I added a fill layer and applied a fabric pattern normal map that I imported to the project. I added another fill layer and used it for the base color and for the roughness and metallic properties. As the top layer, I added another fill layer where I used the ambient occlusion map as the base color. I changed the layer's transfer mode to multiply and reduced the opacity to get the right amount of shadows that I was looking for. I used the Lens Studio template to export the texture maps in 512 by 512 pixels. These are the base color, normal, and the material parameters maps. Before importing the skirt to Lens Studio, I had to modify 2 things in Blender. First, I wanted the skirt to be wider at the bottom, so it would hang nicely and would not be too tight on the body. I used the lattice in Blender to fix that. Second, I had to assign vertex colors to the mesh. The vertex colors will be used in Lens Studio to define which parts of the skirt will be fixed to the body and which parts will be simulated as cloth. I started by selecting all the vertices in edit mode by pressing A. I switched to vertex paint mode and changed the color swatch to pure green. You can use any color that you like, but you will have to enter precisely the same color value in Lens Studio. So it is better to use colors that are easy to remember. You can also copy the hex value to a note and use that later. I changed the view to solid shading. I pressed Set Vertex Color under the Paint menu, and all the faces are now green. Next, I want to paint the vertices that will be fixed to the body and will not droop. I switched to Edit Mode and Wireframe Shading. This way, also the vertices that are in the back will be selected. I selected the top strap vertices and switched back to Vertex Paint with solid shading. I changed the color swatch to pure red and pressed the Set Vertex Colors. I only need 2 color sets, so now I can export the skirt as FBX. In Lens Studio, I imported the skirt FBX and the texture maps. I created a new full body mesh in the Resources panel. I renamed the new body mesh resource Skirt External Mesh. I assigned the imported skirt 3D mesh in the External Mesh slot. Back in the Objects panel, I duplicated the underclothing body mesh and renamed it to Body Mesh Skirt. In the inspector, I switched the body mesh resource to the one named Skirt External Mesh. Now I can see the skirt in the scene, but this is still a normal external mesh setup with no cloth simulation yet. Next, I opened the asset library and imported the Try-On Pack dress. This pack comes with a lot of resources that you can explore on your own later. I dragged the try-on prefab to the scene and placed it under the camera hierarchy. I am using the Dress Low Poly Custom Paint sample for this. Custom Paint means that I will be using the vertex colors that I assigned in Blender. The prefab has its own body tracking component, but we don't want 2 trackers in the scene, since it takes more resources during playback. So in the inspector, I changed the tracking asset to the one we already have in the scene. The prefab also includes a full body occluder, but we will hide it and use our own body occluder. Next, I selected the dress object. You can see the cloth component in the inspector panel. I switched the cloth mesh from the winter dress body mesh to the skirt external mesh body resource. The skirt falls down with gravity, and we need to assign the vertex colors to fix that. I can hide the body mesh skirt object now, and it will stay hidden. I changed the color under the vertex binding to pure red. Now the red vertices are fixed on the hip, and the rest of the vertices participate in the cloth simulation. I created a new PBR material and renamed it PBR Skirt. I dragged the imported texture maps to their slots. I assigned the material to the skirt object, and it's ready. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next and last video of this series.